Hello everyone, my name is Corazar, and welcome back to the Vintage Story Guide. We are back in the world on this brisk winter day, right on New Year's Eve. In the last episode, we went out on a grand adventure, ranging far and wide, north and south, and we went and visited a ton of traders, and we traded for paintings, but mostly tapestries. And this is the only tapestry we got complete out of that. We do have a bunch more that are still incomplete in this trunk over here. But we do also have this seraph painting, and I'm thinking that I want to hang it somewhere today, but I'm not quite sure the space I want to hang it is ready. And that's because I think that I want to hang it somewhere down here, maybe on like this wall here, somewhere. I haven't decided yet. And to the end, I think today's episode is going to be the first in a sort of series of detailing episodes. We have a long winter ahead of us, but we have about 1 million chisels in the basement. So I'm thinking that today would be a good day to start finishing up some of the details in the house that have been missing for a while. I mean, we have a dining room. Is there anything missing from it? Anything at all you notice just missing from this dining room, perhaps? So yes, today I think I want to start by detailing and finishing the details of the first floor of our house. We did some of that in, oh gosh, a long time ago, where we added these flowers here and some of the lanterns and did some of the chisel work with the fireplaces, but it was never quite finished. In fact, even some of the spaces we did, quote, finish last time are still kind of missing something. Like, we could use some more counter space here, and I feel like there's some additional details we could add to the fireplaces. Since we went and did the makeover to the guest house, I also thought it would be kind of fun to have a little shoe area right here in our main house. Maybe not exactly the same, but at least similar. So yes, that is today's goal, and I think that we should get started on it. I think the first thing we should do is probably just clean up the area. We want to have a nice blank slate to work with, so all of this has to go. Wow! Where'd everything go? Oh please. A seraph doesn't clean and tell. Okay, now that we have the first of our areas cleaned out, I'm kind of getting a vision of what I want to do here. But first, I need to find something out. We have a few bookshelves, sort of dedicated blocks in the game that are meant to be bookshelves, and I need to find out if these can be chiseled. And if not, it'll change my design somewhat, but not drastically. So let's pretend that we were going to take out this block here and replace it with a bookshelf. Now, from this side, that would look actually not terrible, honestly. What happens if I chisel you? I can chisel you! Oh my goodness. Now what happens if I move you? Do you keep your exact texture, or do you sort of get the sort of global default? Interesting. So you do actually depend on where I put you still. But your facing remains the same. What if I rotate you? Nothing happens. Okay. So it looks like it's facing for the texture is locked once you chisel it, but I can indeed chisel it. Oh, this is good news. Well, that's great news, because I kind of wanted to have bookshelves just on this side, not on both sides. So I was thinking it could be really cool to have bookshelves built into the wall, but still have plaster wall here, or apparently so. So I think that's what we'll do, at least for maybe this part of it. I'm not sure about this half of the room just yet. So I think it's time for me to get to work on this then. Okay, so I've been fiddling with this a minute, and hear me out. I'll move you somewhere else, maybe like here. There we go, it's a better example. I was thinking, rather than building it into the wall, which could be rather flat, and rather than having it stick out like this, where it would sort of run into the window frame, and considering that no one really has a meter-deep bookshelf, we have to reach our arms way back there to grab any books, what if we just chiseled this down, like, pretty far? Halfway? Maybe even a little bit more? Something like this, a little bit? Something like this. And then, if we were extra crazy, we could even chisel back this stuff a little bit to give it some depth. Something a bit like that. It's too bad I can't quite get in there to get this at the pixel level. We have sort of 2 pixels of texture we have to work with, and this bisects the block right in the center, so we can't get that line without getting the books too. But that is already so much better, I think. So I think I want to go with it. On top of that, it sort of allows us to build something interesting sort of in here. We can build something into the bookshelves, maybe a regular shelf. Let's borrow this one over here. So we borrow this shelf. We could build this in amongst the bookshelves, or we could have something else there. Maybe a lantern, or something else, maybe a plant on the wall. And down here, we can turn this into sort of the bottom cabinet, because you wouldn't really want to have your books all the way to the bottom shelf in your sort of, main living area. We might have like a cabinet down here where we keep the board games or something, and we'd have a couch facing this way where we can read our books and just sort of move the couch when we want to get our board games. And this won't feel so crunched when we have all these bookshelves here and on this side knocked back by over half a block. I think it'll work really well, actually. Let's do it. It did not like that. Alright. Okay, so it appears that putting a chiseled bookshelf into the workbench to copy it makes the game crash, so I think we'll be doing this by hand. I did let the mod author know that it crashes the game, but I don't expect an answer immediately, so let's get to it. But you know what I could use while working? I think I could use some music, so let's put down our brand new echo chamber. Well, brand new, salvaged, refurbished, whatever. And let's put something on that we haven't heard before. We have a few resonance archives that are not in the standard game files and don't play as background music, and so I haven't included them in the videos yet. Today, though, we have Cultured Tavern, which is kind of a waltzy sort of thing, and then The Invention, which is kind of lighthearted, happy, hopeful kind of sound. Anyway, I'm going to put this disc on, and we're going to get to work. Alright everyone, it's that time again. Time for me to answer some of your 20 questions. I've gotten quite a number of questions from everyone, so these answers may need to be split up between building montages, but let's get started. Our first question is from Dusty Smith. Would you be open to inviting viewers to your world as a milestone celebration? Unfortunately, the logistics of this are too much for me at the moment. While it would be trivial for me to hit the Open to Land button in the menu, coordinating the event, making sure I have enough bandwidth and or hosting it, and so on, are just too much for me to handle at the moment. On top of that, there are privacy issues in handing out my IP address, so I'd probably want to have it hosted externally, which is a whole other can of worms. Our second question is from Rivistix. In your opinion, what makes a great starting seed versus a just okay starting seed? This is extremely subjective, but for me, a great starting seed has a number of things. 1. A variety of easily accessible crops and materials needed for the early game. 2. Easy access to gating materials, chalk or limestone, bauxite, borax, and so on. 3. A distinct lack of wolves in the immediate starting area. 4. A convergence of different rock types for easy access to multiple building materials. And 5. The type of terrain that I want to build in, which may change with every world I play. That all being said, the worlds in Vintage Story, while not infinite, are pretty huge. If you're not too afraid to put on your hiking boots, you can generally find a perfect starting place within a 15-minute walk from your starting position, which is exactly what we did in the series. Our next question is from Critical Pixel. What direction would you like to see as an end goal for Vintage Story? Is there an end game that would satisfy you? My answer to this is probably going to be colored a bit because I already know enough about the developer's roadmap that I'm generally aware of the currently defined end goal of the game. But personally, I would like to see some kind of repeatable event that is both rewarding and a resource sink. Maybe we can find or build a new lens that lets us open gates to the Rust world, where we can battle our way through an instance dungeon, stabilize the Great Chronometer or something, and then return to our world when we succeed or fail. Basically a raid dungeon. It would cost several temporal gears to open the gate, and it would only stay open for a limited amount of time. Completing the task could reward the player with some new late-game gear, or materials that haven't been defined yet, and/or could allow the players to temporarily set the course of the world. Things like tuning temporal storms up or down, or modifying how temporal stability works for a set period of time. Our next question is from someone who I believe is a second-time offender, Akiamini. Have you played Stellaris? And here I am paraphrasing the question, but the implication is that it could be good for the next thing after Vintage Story. I own Stellaris, but I haven't played it. I bought it for pennies on the dollar at the height of its hype back in, 1,000 years ago. I ended up watching a friend play it, decided it wasn't my type of game, and never pulled it off my Steam shelf. Or my GOG shelf. I forget which. I'm not super wild about 4X games because they feel a bit too tactical to me. While number crunching can be fun now and then, I burn out fast on tactical games. Our next question is from Milos101. Why do you take a sample of every ore you mine? Well, Milos101, the Ventarian Geological Act of 1386 requires all geologists, geomancers, and miners to acquire samples of their materials so the Diet can trace any ore back to its original location, and we are required to maintain a complete collection of samples for as long as we hold our mining licenses. But the actual answer is, I saw another YouTuber, To Asgard, do it, and I thought it was fun, so I started doing it too. It's given me a couple ideas for a potential super secret build in the distant future, so maybe we'll come back to those. Our next question is from Durag95, and this is another paraphrase question. What is the best way to find tin, bismuth, iron, or any other mineral? This is a difficult question to answer, as it can greatly depend on your game settings and other conditions. The unfortunate thing is that the answer in general is, go forth and use thy prospecting pick prodigiously. Exploration and prospecting everywhere you go is about the only answer for everything aside from surface copper, surface tin, which is incredibly rare, and quartz veins. It is, however, possible to narrow down your search. In the handbook, which you can open by pressing H, you can search for the ore type you're looking for. The handbook will show you what types of stone that ore can spawn in. You can compare that to the types of stone you know are in the area, which can be helped along by taking a core sample so you know what different kinds of stone layers are beneath you. If a compatible stone isn't even present, don't bother to prospect. However, I generally find it better to prospect first because the density search actually does show you the approximate amount of ore you can expect to find in that area, and it does take the resident stone types into account. So even if the game could have spawned lead in a particular area, if your surface layer is granite, a stone that lead cannot spawn in, then you know you won't find lead, since none of the rock types that can host lead spawn beneath granite. Well, everyone, that is the first of our bookshelves in and done. I think I like it. It fits, it's not too crowded yet. We'll fix that shortly. Next, I think it's time to put something over here. And I've been thinking, maybe I don't want to crowd these drawers. Maybe we could have a taller bookshelf, or a hanging bookshelf here, and put our couch beneath it. Maybe even a short, sort of like lounging couch, a day bed. But first, I think our music is done, so let's pull this one off, and let's listen to the invention this time, while we work. Alright everyone, since we are in the second build montage, let's forge onward with the 20 questions. Our next question is from Kimberly Gordon. What are or is the most annoying enemy to deal with, and which animal is the easiest to work with in Vintage Story? I would say the most annoying enemy is definitely the bell. They are loud, and to my knowledge they do not despawn until you kill them, so they can turn your favorite iron or copper mine into an absolute nightmare. The easiest animals to work with? Definitely the butterflies. They don't do anything, which is absolutely perfect. But the serious answer, they're all about equally annoying. Pigs might be the easiest since they seem to be the most reliable at seeking out and finding food sources, and the males don't headbutt you just for existing. Our next question is from, and I apologize if I butcher this, Zain Saeed. Would you consider repairing and rebuilding a ruin in the future? I actually started my original house in my first Vintage Story game by doing exactly this. This could be a fun project, although I'm not sure I'll be able to fit it into the guide series. Maybe in our next visit to Vintage Story, our starter house could be in a restored ruin. Our next question is from Joao Pedro. What features or quality of life additions would you like to see in Vintage Story? I kind of answered this in a previous 20 questions segment about what feature I would add, but I think I may have changed my answer, so I'll add it here. I would love to be able to have a village full of interactive NPCs. Wouldn't it be cool to be able to hire a cook for Lupine Ridge and have an NPC who, as long as we keep them happy with fuel or ingredients and warmth and a bed, and other comforts, would cook up to a specific quota of different meals we can just pull off the shelf? They could even eat the same meals, which would give us a reason to actually have gigantic farms. Likewise, a blacksmith who could pound out all of our iron blooms would be great. But yeah. Our next question is from Redneck Woman. What was the first game you remember really getting into and finishing? Oh my goodness, do I ever remember this one. My parents bought me a Super NES for my 8th birthday sometime back in the 18th century. The console already wasn't new on the market at the time, and I think it was affordable because the PlayStation had released at some point a couple years back and driven the Super NES's price down. It came with the cartridge that has Super Mario World plus a bunch of the classic Mario games from the original NES. Anyway, later that year, I think after I got some Christmas money from my grandparents, I went out and bought Super Mario RPG, Legend of the Seven Stars, at a clearance sale for like $30. I played the ever-living stuffing out of that game, and it was the very first game I ever beat. Frankly, its spiritual successor, the Paper Mario series, were never quite as good as this one. Our next question is from Honeymoon. Hand reveal? Yes, I have hands. 2, in fact, and that puts me above average. Our next question is from CL Babier. Where do you see Vintage Story in 3 years? Hopefully at a 1.0 full release. The devs over at Inigo Studios generally seem to have a roughly 6-month release cycle, with 2 big feature or polish releases per year. That means in 3 years, we should see about 6 large feature releases. I don't know how much they worked ahead on the roadmap, but I could see Vintage Story exiting early access in that time frame. As for my relationship to Vintage Story, hopefully it'll still be installed. I'm not going to be playing it continuously on or off the channel, but it's a game I like to return to every now and then as it grows. Our last question today is from Misha Purser. What are your thoughts on the upcoming game Hytale? Would you consider doing a gameplay series in the game when it comes out? I honestly know very little about Hytale outside its broadest marketing pitch. My understanding is that it's gone through a ton of changes, and now they're apparently rewriting the entire game from C# to C++. So, my main thought is that we'll have all died of old age by the time it comes out. On the off chance that we're still around, I would definitely consider it if it reviews well, if I like it, if it has a solid community, and if YouTube isn't too saturated with Hytale content already. Well everyone, that is all of the 20 questions that we have today. Thanks to everyone who submitted questions, and I look forward to more questions that come in the future. As always, if you have a question you want to submit, drop it in a comment with the hashtag 20questions. Well, we're getting near to the end of the song, but even though we don't have any more questions to answer, enjoy the rest of the montage. And now that our second archive has come to an end, I think it's time we stop and look at our work. I like it. I like it a lot. Let me know what you all think in the comments. I could almost go for, ooh, you know what? A little oval rug as well. That should be quick. There we go. Even cozier now. I think this is perfect. And we fit here too. Nice! For our second room, the dining room, I think we need to move the echo chamber a bit, and we will place you here for now. One thing I want to work with in here is these chandeliers. Now, chandeliers must be placed on a solid block. The floor or the ceiling, but the ceiling is a half block up. But chandeliers are the brightest light source in the game, provided you can add 8 candles to it. You'll see as I add them, they get brighter and brighter until they are at maximum brightness. And boy, let me take my lantern off. That is bright. Look at that. Super bright, and we wouldn't need this lantern here. The only problem with this room is that it's not an odd number, and since these are centered on a block, it might look a little funny having it hanging down sort of on one side of the table. So I'm not quite sure how I want to handle that. I might just make a thin table down the center here, and then sort of center this on the table rather than the room. And that would leave room for like a little bureau over here, and a tree in the corner, and a planter, that kind of thing, or some added planters. So I'm going to go buy some planters and then figure out what to do about this room. Be right back. Okay, I have decided on how I want to lay out this room. Yes, I have. So let's get started on that. First of all, let's put one planter in this corner and one planter in this corner. I think cocked a little bit helps it look a little better. And then in this one, we'll put a Crimson King maple sapling, and in this one, a birch sapling. And those will add some color, primarily in the spring and summer, but they also add a little bit of life and movement to the room. I did mention putting some kind of bureaus or hutches here, and I think what I want to do is I'm going to grab these guys. I'm going to make a few copies of them. Sorry, flower pot. Okay, we're going to steal you. I'm going to put you back. I'm going to put you back. And you back. And now what we can do is we can make a little hutch here. And a little bureau here. And another bureau right here. And maybe in this hutch we keep our silverware. And what we can do is we'll put some shelves up here. So that way we can actually store stuff on there, like bowls and such. And these guys we can rotate. And now we have room for our linens. And maybe our plates could go in here. And I think, while copying these might seem sort of the fast way into this, I think it would make sense that as a rich landowner, we would have the money to purchase matching furniture for our house. So I think this actually should work pretty well here. And maybe we'll even go for matching flower pots this time, since I do tend to scatter different colors around. And we will put cornflower in you, and more furs in this one. Yes, this is starting to come together. Now, for the dining table, I think no matter what I'm going to do, this chandelier is going to be offset a bit. So what I could do is, I could hang 2 chandeliers. Maybe one here, and then one, is it here? That is a solution. Although no, the room is actually an odd number wide. It's just longer in one direction than the other, so not a problem. Chandelier right here. And I'm just going to mark that real quick. And let's go and start finding something to chisel a chain from which to hang our chandelier. Alright, so all I want to do here is I want to just chisel a connector up here to the ceiling. Maybe even make it one larger. There we go. And then I want to chisel just enough of a chain so that we can hang that chandelier. Okay, so here is the bottom of our block. We're going to just make this just large enough. Oh! It's just large enough, apparently. It's not quite the right color. I think it would probably need some black bronze to really make it match, but this is probably close enough, unless we were to use maybe some chiseled slate, which could make it darker. We could try that. Okay, that helps somewhat. It's still not perfect, but I'm not sure I want to invest 12 black bronze bars into making it look perfect, so we'll leave it for now. And what we can do is we'll take you down and see how dark it is in here without anything. Woo! Pretty gloomy, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And look at that glow. Wow, that is super bright in here now. Awesome. Now, for the table. Okay, everyone. I'm about to set the dining room table for supper, so let's all dig in. And there we go. I like it. These high back chairs are 2 blocks tall. 2 separate pieces there, as I'm sure you saw. And I am happy with this table and the sort of... I know there's a name for this kind of leg, but if someone could remind me in the comments, it'd be awesome. Yes, it has a sort of like swoop inward and then out, and then with a little round thing. I think it's called a finial? Maybe just a rondel? I don't know. And I did kind of a slightly smaller version for the chair's front legs, but then like most chairs I gave the back legs just sort of a straight, slightly outward curving leg to them. Anyway, that is, I believe, the dining room complete. Let's move on. The next order of business I have is something that I want to try before I really dive into it. I was thinking, we have a whole bunch of these brown clay bricks, and in my neighborhood, when I was walking around the other day, I noticed that some of the brick houses have randomly interspersed different colored bricks in their masonry, where like maybe this brick might be a different color, and this brick could be, and this one, and that one. And it's not like a pattern. And some of them have more than one different brick color, like some could be like red, brown, yellow, and blue. But I think for this one, I just want to do the fire clay bricks and then see if I can work in some of these brown bricks. So I think this would be cool, so let's go ahead and give it a shot. I'm trying to figure out where I want to start it. Let's try here. We'll do a small area here, and we'll see how it goes. You know what? I think I like it. I think I like it a lot. Just that bit of randomness gives something to catch the eye. You know what? We're going to do it. I'm going to redo all of this fire brick and add some of these brown bricks into it. Okay, and with just a couple minutes of work, we now have a nice and varied set of fire brick and brown clay fireplaces. We just need one more right here, I think. Let's go ahead and do that. There we go. And I think the goal was definitely to sort of only have maybe 20% of all the bricks be brown. It just sort of adds that extra interest. Also for the kitchen, I want to get this guy off the floor. It's our stick storage. I want to get rid of this guy entirely, because this is sort of just old and gross. Let's go make us some tables and figure out how to fix that storage. Okay, our first improvement is going to be 3 marble top tables to serve as a counter. And while I would prefer to have some actual, like, chiseled counter space, the problem is you can't use chiseled blocks or anything else but tables, or floors really, full blocks, for pies and for bread and stuff. So we're kind of stuck using these tables here. Now if I can swap this out, I think I want to move this guy up there. And what we'll do is we will grab you, or we'll use our pickaxe, since that's apparently a rock. I'll grab you, and we'll copy you two, and we will just drop you there, and you there, and then we can even pick up this guy, and just get him off the floor. I think, yeah, having a shelf there will help clear this walk space up. I like that a lot more. Much nicer, and I think I want to move, or put, a log pile right here, because I kind of like having one right near the ovens and near the cooking fires where we need them. So I'm going to go and do that, and I'm going to fix these guys up. Much better. This is feeling very cozy and homey to me. Now, for the last room on our first floor, I have a couple ideas of things I want to put in here. I do also want to start, or maybe end, I think we'll end, with a shoe storage area slash sort of, you know, entrance, like we have here, where it'll be a step down, we'll have a little brush mat to wipe your feet, and we'll have some shoe storage. I think I will use different materials for, like, the stone and the wood here to better match the house and to just be a bit different. But I think the first order of business actually is going to be, we're going to copy this guy, because in our continuing bid to have matching furniture, I'm going to put one maybe like right here, I think. Could even go like here. We'll see where it fits best. Where am I going? Okay, let's see if this fits here well enough. Perfect. We're done. That kind of hugs the stairs a bit much. So you're a little bit low. I want to move you somewhere else. So let's see if we move you over one block. I think it's okay. We could put it more like here, facing this way though. Let's see how that looks. You know what? I think I like it. I think we'll do that. Then, I think we'll do something we haven't really touched on before. I'm gonna get some materials. We need some clear glass. I believe it's a full block. Yes, because we're going to be making a display case. So let's grab a couple planks, and we can make a display case, just like so. Now, we will want a table to put it on, and I'm thinking we should make another fancy marble top table, because that's what we do around here. And we will just do the thing. There we go. Let's go put this somewhere as maybe a conversation piece. Say, probably here. No, that's too crowded in the stairs still. Let's do maybe right here. Yes, that's better. It does block our path from this door right to the stairs, but it's not too big of an ask to walk around. Now, what can we do with this display case? We can display stuff in it, of course. Display cases can hold any number of different items, but you can only put up to 4 in each one. And I'm not sure exactly all the different things you can put in display cases, but I do know that you can put things like tree seeds. Maybe that's in the next version of the game. I've seen people put tree seeds in here. But we can put seashells, and we could put a crystallized chunk of galena, and a rough peridot. I want to put tree seeds in. Oh well. But this way we can just sort of show off some of our collections of interesting things rather than having them, you know, collect dust in a chest somewhere. Okay, I've got a selection of bricks here. And I'm going to start with maybe shale. Does shale look too dark? And the reason I want to try shale here is because we have shale right outside, but that might be a bit too stark. Although we do have some shale right here. That might fit in better than I thought. So let's see how, say, firelight might look instead. No, it's too similar to the walnut, I think. Skip you. We do have some andesite. Ooh. That's not a bad contrast. That is not a bad contrast. I kind of like it. I kind of like that. Then we have granite, which is... I mean, it's granite. It's gray. It's easy to fit into any build. I think I want to go with the andesite, because that's just a nice, sort of pleasant color to walk into. Let's do it. Okay. So, we have our 4 andesite, which we'll merge into these blocks down here. But now I want to see what color we should make our shoe rack. We have the option of the aged wood planks, like over in the other house, but that's too dark for the rest of the room, I think. So I'm going to skip that one. We could use bald cypress, but I feel like that might match with the plaster too well. Yep. Suspicion confirmed. I'm not even going to try with walnut or with larch, because they'll sort of match the floor too well. What about some redwood? Would that work here? Oof. No, that's... No. No. My eyes. Please, spare my eyes. How about instead... Could we use pine? It's a little stark, but it's not awful. Let's try oak and see if that's going to fix it. Yep. I think it's got to be oak. The oak is just sort of right in the correct sort of tone that we want for this place. So, let's do it. But if you've seen the makeover of the starter house episode, then you've already seen me build this, so I won't make you sit through a second chiseling montage of me making this threshold. Okay, everyone, here it is. Here is our little front entrance area. And I thought that this time we could have our shoes up on a table rather than on the ground. Just for, you know, easier picking up, we can come over and sit on the couch, put our shoes on, and head out the door. Which I know probably violates some strict order of never wearing shoes on the, you know, wood of the house, but hey, you know what? I'm wearing shoes. We have the andesite mud area here with the rush mat made of the bamboo. And I chiseled this little table-y thing. I did try, and you can put shoes on tables, but I wanted something a little bit different, a little more customized. But this is our little living room area. Slash maybe parlor, I guess is the proper word. And we did a lot today aside from that. We got our book nook done, and I am super happy with this. This is my favorite place right now in this house. Come and sit on our little couch, and we've got our bookshelves all around us, and if we want, we can put on some music. And then we finished our dining room. We can actually eat in here now. And these chairs are designed, I should be able to sort of, there we go, fit in, and we can in fact sit on them, like so. And in the next version, when you sit at the edge of a block, you should put your legs over. So we'll see if maybe this will sort of let our legs swing over the edge, but it might not. If not, that's okay. But we have this custom table and all these chairs, And then these hutches and bureaus over here with some shelves up top. We also came in and redid our kitchen. We got some real counter space here with some attractive tables. We moved our stick storage up here. And we worked these brown bricks into our fireplaces. All in all, I am very happy with how our first floor came out. And I am looking forward to starting on the second floor very soon. Because this floor, aside from our breakfast nook, doesn't really have anything going for it. We have a very empty chiseling room. We have our bedroom that has a couple amenities to it. We got the nice fireplace and then some furniture, but nothing really cool. And then we have the secondary bedroom, which is kind of just junk storage right now. And we need to figure out where these armor stands are going as well. And I might like to add some more decorations, like on the walls here, under the stairs. Ooh, we could stick some bookshelves under here. Oh yes, we're gonna put bookshelves right under here. Absolutely. So yes, I think we have our work cut out for us for the second floor. I am looking forward to finishing this house with all of you, and then moving on to the next big thing. Anyway, everyone, I think you knew we were going to do the outro in the book nook, didn't you? But that is all we have time for in this episode of the Vintage Story Guide. I hope you enjoyed our detailing of the first floor of our house. And I'm looking forward to detailing the second floor of the house, and later, finishing the third floor, the attic, and the tower. If you have any AMA questions I'd like me to answer in a video like this one, drop them in a comment with the hashtag 20questions. And if you play computer games and would like to support the channel, consider using my partner link next time you're shopping on the Humble Store, on screen now and in the description below. Anyway, as always, my name has been Corzar. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.